These are statistics, and statistics had a problem. You see, in poker, most players cluster around an expected win rate, give or take a few standard deviations. But then there was Mike Postle, an outlier so extreme he defied probability, but only at one table. Yet without cell phone records or server logs, no legal action could stick. October 1st, 2019, the night the live stream died. The last broadcast before Stone's Live Poker went dark was on October 1st, 2019. The Twitter mob had been howling for days, and after Joey Ingram started streaming his findings, people started to see that Postle could have been cheating. The dealers knew what was being said online. The live stream tech crew knew. Hell, everybody knew. But like a bad beat on a high-stakes game, they all kept their mouths shut and awkwardly worked through that last October 1st stream. Then, silence. By October 2nd, the live stream was dead. No warning, no farewell, just poof, gone. Here's how I think it went down. Upper management finally looked up from their spreadsheets and saw the wildfire on social media and hit the kill switch. No more poker, no more drama. Just a blank screen where the show used to be. Then came Justin. Word travels fast in Sacramento, and the rumor mill swore Stones dragged him in, took his phone, allegedly, but my sources say they saw it happen, and benched him without pay. No confession, no firing, just a quiet suspension while the suits figured out their next move. Because here's the thing, casinos don't like scandals. If they canned Justin on the spot, it'd be an admission of guilt. So instead, let him dangle, keep him on the payroll, wait for the heat to die down, then cut him loose for unrelated reasons. Plausible deniability, baby. But my gut says Stones knew exactly what was happening once they looked at the footage. They pulled the tapes, brought in some experts, and realized, yeah, this stinks. They had to have known either Justin or Tech or both were in on it. And that's when the real panic set in. Cheating in a casino isn't just shady, it's a felony. Under California Penal Code 337T, getting caught with a cheating device means 3 years in prison, at least $10,000 in fines, and paying back every single penny. Stones also didn't want to be shut down because their employees were helping someone cheat with an electronic device. So Stones did what any smart casino would. They complied with the DOJ, then they got rid of everything. Justin's phone? Gone. The live stream equipment? Gone. The head of Stone's Live Poker, who at the very least was grossly incompetent? Suspended. As for the footage, some say they kept the footage up as proof. Like, look, we didn't hide it. He cheated in plain sight. Others whispered that Justin was the only one with the passwords. And when they trashed the equipment, the YouTube and the Twitch channels became digital ghosts. Either way, the mission was clear. Save the casino, bury the scandal. The live stream died so the casino could live. The DOJ. The day the feds showed up. I was sitting in my house when the DOJ called. Not a subpoena, not a summons, just two agents asking politely if they could come by to chat. So I cleared my afternoon and I waited. They arrived like something out of a low-budget cop show. The lead investigator wearing a cheap-looking suit with earnest confusion, and his silent partner who might as well have just been furniture. He opened with the kind of line that makes your stomach drop. I don't really know poker, but I know cheating when I see it. Then he pulled out a notepad. Not a laptop, not a recorder, a fucking notepad. I walked him through all of it. The impossible folds, the psychic calls, the way Mike played like God himself was whispering in his ear. When I asked him about Justin's microphone, the agent's face went blank. What microphone? At that time, I thought they'd missed it, of course. They had to have had it. Later, I combed through hours of footage showing Justin always removed his microphone before stepping on camera. Always. For months, I'd written Justin off as just another incompetent middle manager type, a bumbling tournament director who couldn't spot a cheating scandal if it bit him on the nose. But then, where was the microphone that Justin wore? Was that even Stone's microphone to begin with? That's when the gears started to turn for me. The complaints piled up for almost a year. Something's not right with Postle's play, Justin. And what did he do? He covered it up. Not just ignored it, he buried it. How did he know Mike's exact buy-ins and cash-outs? Why was he obsessed with Mike's hands? Why were Mike's hands being changed when his play became too out of line? Why didn't he yank Postle from the game when the whole room was screaming that something wasn't right? Too many coincidences, too many loose threads, and then the cold splash of realization. Oh my God. Was that Justin's microphone? Was he in on it? The incompetence theory crumbled. This wasn't stupidity. This was complicity. The mic, the deflection, the suspicious laser focus on Postle's every move. It wasn't just negligence. It was exactly how someone would behave if they were involved. And suddenly, all the pieces snapped into place. Justin was Mike's partner. Now back to the DOJ. For hours, the agent kept asking about hand signals. Was he winking at someone? Nodding? Anything? Was he giving anyone at the table any hand signals? I wanted to scream. It's not 1980. He's not getting hand signals. He's getting the hands fed to his phone or to his bone-conducting headset. Check the servers. Pull their texts. The agent just scribbled in his pad. By the time they left, I understood. This didn't feel like an investigation. It felt like theater. Did they check any of Stone's server logs? Did they issue Stone's any subpoenas? I have no idea. They were just two government employees checking boxes while the man who rigged the game walked free. And the rest of us? We got lawsuits, death threats, a community torn apart. All because the people with handcuffs and badges couldn't be bothered to look at the technology or the video. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if they sent someone who understood poker. Or maybe they didn't want to find anything. October 2019. The lawsuit that didn't go as planned. When we first filed the lawsuit against Stone's Gambling Hall, Mike Postle, and Justin Caritis, I genuinely believed that we could achieve some sort of accountability. Even if the legal system hadn't pursued criminal charges against Mike Postle, I thought, much like the O.J. Simpson case, where he wasn't found guilty criminally but he was held accountable civilly, we might be able to at least hold the casino, Mike Postle, and Justin Caritis responsible for what happened. But things didn't unfold the way I'd hoped. Our attorney, Mac Verstanding, seemed more focused on a quick resolution than pushing for the truth. Postle was removed from the lawsuit early on. I still don't know why. And without the DOJ's investigation leading to any concrete findings, our case lacked the leverage it needed. Why the lawsuit hit a wall? California's legal system makes it extremely difficult for gamblers to sue casinos, even in cases of alleged cheating. A few key reasons. Gambling losses aren't recoverable. State laws treat gambling debts as unenforceable, meaning courts won't help players recoup losses even if fraud occurred. No private right to sue over cheating. While cheating is illegal, courts have ruled that gambling is a voluntary activity where players assume the risks. How it ended? In the end, about 60 plaintiffs settled for what I've heard was roughly about $450 each, far from the justice many were hoping for. The rest of the group couldn't continue without legal representation, as Mac withdrew from the case. I didn't settle. I wanted to be able to speak about the case. I didn't want to let it die. There was too big of an injustice in my eyes. August 2020, the second lawsuit. Another swing, another miss. Postle slips through the legal loopholes again. The Nevada courtroom door slammed shut on Marley Cordero's $250,000 lawsuit against Mike Postle. Not because the cheating allegations lacked merit, but because of the technicality, the wrong zip code. The judge delivered the knockout blow using the legal equivalent of a three-punch combo, the Calder test. Postle just played in the game. He didn't control the broadcast. His cards never crossed state lines. The game was in California, the lawsuit was in Nevada. Visiting Reno to deal with child custody issues doesn't make Mike Postle a Nevada resident. Mac fired back with but the stream hurt my client in Nevada. And the judge wasn't buying it. This makes Mike Postle the Houdini of poker lawsuits. 2 legal escapes and counting. The California class action, gone. This Nevada case, gone too. Every time the lights come on in court, Postle's already slipped out the back door. The aftermath? Mac's team released a statement that basically said, this was just about venue, not the truth. Postle keeps dodging the real questions. We're not done yet. The poker world's left wondering, is anyone ever going to pin this guy down in court? Or is he destined to remain poker's most infamous ghost, forever vanishing when the gavel comes down? Mike Postle's $330 million bluff backfires spectacularly. Mike Postle tried to silence his critics with a $330 million defamation lawsuit, targeting me, Doug Polk, Joey Ingram, all poker media, and ESPN? Why ESPN? Well, this is why.
I'm not a poker player, don't have the patience for it, and as I've always explained, if you deal me 2 cards, I add them up, see how close they are to 21, and decide if I need more or if I want to go ahead and let that dealer take the face card. Monkey! I have, however, been captivated by a poker story that has all the makings. A lot of it is honestly beyond my scope of understanding, might be beyond yours as well. But if a guy were able to cheat his way to 6-figure gains playing cards and it got solved by a bunch of poker sleuths on the internet, is that a story that interests you? Because it did me. The details that matter here are that a guy named Mike Postle was playing poker at a casino in Northern California called Stone's, and he was winning, like all the time. Lots and lots of money. Maybe he's just a great poker player. But a former casino employee who goes by Veronica 2.0 on Twitter grew suspicious and asked Stone's to investigate, and they kind of blew her off. She contacted Joey Ingram, who's a poker player that hosts a very popular podcast, and he started to dig in. A lot of people did. Ingram's Twitter feed has become like CSI Stone Poker Room as he dissects the video feed of the play of Postle. Accusations of cheating are taken very seriously in the poker community, and I credit Ingram for taking great caution to give a guy who's apparently very well liked the benefit of the doubt. But the more that Ingram and others combed through the video, the harder that has become to do. A number of very well-known poker players explained to me that in simplest terms, Postle was winning at rates that cannot mathematically be accounted for, and he was somehow able to win $250,000 in a couple years playing at the low-limit $1, $3 table. They explained that he almost exclusively played in games where there was a video feed, where the cards were tracked by what's called RFID technology. And one of his very few losing sessions over a couple years came when a particular employee of the casino, who happened to have been a very vocal supporter of Postle's, was out of town in Vegas. The implication is he had to have help. If he did, and if it came from inside, that's where this gets really sketchy. As one player told me, with televised poker and video feeds of poker, you've got to trust the casino implicitly. But if, and again I stress, if a player had help from the inside relaying to them what the cards were, then you wouldn't have a fair fight. You'd have a stacked deck. And there's so much more here to this story. You can get lost for hours if you go down the wormhole. Devices stuffed in his hat that might have aided in this. Stone's initially saying they investigated, found no evidence of cheating, only to realize that the story was mushrooming, and then they said they'd take another swing at it with a more thorough review. And again, I'm a neophyte here. I know nothing. I just ask this. If you're the equivalent of a guy who shows up to play pickup basketball and you never, ever missed a shot for a couple of years, wouldn't you go play in the NBA? If you're some sort of poker god who almost never lost, who made the right call or fold virtually every single time, if you were this good, why would you be playing in games only with a video feed at a 1-3 table at Stone's Poker Room? Why wouldn't you be in Vegas winning all the money in the world? There might be perfectly reasonable explanations and answers for all the questions the poker world has, and they'd love for that to be the case. And if those answers exist, they'd really love to hear them.
But his legal Hail Mary crashed and burned. I filed an anti-slap motion, forcing Postle to fold before discovery even began. The result? He now owes me over $30,000 in legal fees, with interest still piling up. And guess what? He hasn't paid a dime. The irony? His lawsuit, meant to salvage his reputation, only dug him deeper. He didn't even serve any of the defendants, making it look like a publicity stunt or a scare tactic. Then came the next flop, a documentary to rewrite history. My sources tell me that Postle dangled a lawsuit winning to fund a documentary, essentially paying a director to paint him as the victim. When they asked me to participate, I told them to kick rocks. Unsurprisingly, the project vanished faster than Postle's credibility. The consequences of Postle's actions. While the civil case against Mike Postle was dismissed, the poker community has effectively rendered its own judgment. The allegations and subsequent legal battles have made it virtually impossible for him to continue his career as a professional poker player. Major casinos and reputable games are unlikely to welcome him, regardless of the legal outcome. Financially, Postle appears to be struggling. The $250,000 in disputed winnings has reportedly been spent, leaving him with little to show for his time at the tables. Plus, Wells Fargo is suing him. And for some crazy reason beyond my comprehension, he's been unable to replicate his winnings on any other table. Additionally, his failed defamation lawsuit has resulted in court-ordered penalties that he has yet to pay in full. Between legal debts and dwindling resources, his financial situation seems increasingly precarious. What began as an attempt to defend his reputation through litigation has instead compounded his troubles. Without a viable poker career or stable income, Postle now faces the lasting consequences of his decisions, both at the tables and in court, aka he's broke. Postle faced no consequences outside of the poker community. Stones and Justin Coritas moved on, and what started as a major poker scandal faded into a Twitter issue. The Postle case joins poker's long history of unresolved cheating scandals. From online super users to live card mechanics, time and again, we've seen these allegations fail to gain legal traction in courts or with regulators. This painful reality leaves our community with an uncomfortable truth. We can't rely on outside systems for justice. Whether through vigilant peer review, robust security standards, or collective accountability, we players must ultimately govern ourselves. The Postle saga wasn't just about one man or one casino. It was a stark reminder that in poker, integrity begins and ends with us. Looking back, some players were angry at how things played out, especially with Max stepping away. I'm more resigned than upset. We tried, but the system wasn't built to help us. Without stronger evidence or regulatory support, our case was always an uphill battle. In the end, the Postle saga is a reminder of how hard it is to hold anyone accountable in the poker world, even when the cheating is so blatantly obvious. Well, ladies and gentlemen, justice might have left the table, but the poker community, we have our own courthouses, and we've closed this case, for now. But join me next time when I discover just how volatile people get when you reveal their star player was just a man getting the cards sent to his phone.